Today we're going to discuss supporting details. What are supporting details? Well, based upon the topic and the main idea an author wants to express, he or she will choose particular details, facts, ideas, or examples that develop or elaborate on the main idea. Now, these examples or features are called supporting details, and there are actually major and minor supporting details. So what are major supporting details? Well, they may start with signal or transition words like first, second, next, in addition, then, eventually, finally, etc. And major supporting details give information directly about the main idea. What are minor supporting details? Well, they give information directly about the major supporting details. Minor details may start with phrases like to illustrate, for instance, for example, including, such as, and minor details follow immediately after a major detail. Now, how do you find supporting details? Well, first of all, you need to locate your topic, and then see if you can locate your main idea. Next, you look for signal words like first, second, next, in addition, then, eventually, finally, etc. to find major supporting details, and words like to illustrate, for instance, for example, including, or such as to locate minor supporting details. Now remember that not all supporting details will have signal or transition words to help you locate these details, so be on the watch for things like that. Let's take a look at our first example here. The children stared at the pile of brightly wrapped presents under the tree and could hardly believe their eyes. As soon as their parents set them loose, they attacked those packages and started to remove the shiny paper and colorful bows. Avalon used her hands as weapons. For example, she slit the paper on the first box from side to side with one swipe, like a karate chop. Then she threw the wrapping and bows in the corner, much to the delight of the two cats watching the spectacle. Zoe, her younger sister, wielding a pair of left-handed scissors, rapidly demolished the dazzling foil-wrapped exterior of her box. Next, she stuck the bow on her head and laughed while she threw the paper at the cats. At the same time, both girls tore the boxes open and squealed at the sight of their new fidget toys, one pink and one blue. Finally, the girls put their toys side by side, and the two fidgets, Patter and Scooch, started singing and dancing together. Now let us take a look at this and analyze it as far as topic and supporting details. As you know, the very first thing we always look for is going to be the topic, and the topic is right here. The children, and it talks about the girls later on. Now, what's the stated main idea? Well, that would be our very first sentence here. Now, let's start picking out some of the supporting details. But first of all, let's take a look at some of the signal words that show us what's coming up here. Some of the major details I'm showing here, underlining in red. And let's go and see if we can find any minor supporting details. There's only one here that I can see. It says, for example. Perhaps, if you looked really closely, you might find one that I didn't pick up, but I can only see one, and that's for example. Now, this leads us to a question. Does every major supporting detail have a minor supporting detail to follow it? No. There's no pattern to this. You could have a paragraph with only major supporting details and no minor supporting details. It just depends upon what the author wants to say. And does every supporting detail have to start with a signal or transition word? No. You see, here's a supporting detail that does not start with a signal word. However, good writers use them as often as possible to make their writing more easily understood. Now, I'm going to have you try one, but don't forget to find your topic and main idea before looking for your major and minor supporting details. It's difficult for my small family to keep our house tidy. First of all, my husband loves to leave things lying around. For instance, he will drop his huge shoes in the front hallway and leave a shirt on the dining room chair. Also, he will leave old newspapers on the dining room table and dirty dishes in the family room. Unfortunately, I'm to blame as well. My favorite trick is to leave my computer bag in the middle of the hall so everyone can trip over it. Furthermore, I can be pretty messy. For example, I leave dirty dishes in the kitchen sink, and I'm constantly throwing old books I have read on the end tables in the family room, so I can never find anything I want when I need it. Even our cats get in on the action by throwing their toys around, including their fake mice, balls, and stuffed animals. I guess we all deserve one another in our untidy household, but we'll have to keep on trying to stay ahead of the mess. Okay. Now, we're going to use the strategies that we've learned before. First of all, what is the topic here? What are we looking for? Well, our topic would be my small family. And what's the main idea? Well, it happens to be stated right in the very first sentence. It's difficult for my small family to keep our house tidy. Okay, so now that we have that established, we should be able to go and start looking for major supporting details. Well, we have first of all, then we have also, he will leave old newspapers on the dining room table. And of course, unfortunately, I'm to blame myself as well. And we talk about my favorite trick is to leave my computer bag in the middle of the hall. Furthermore, as you see, some of these sentences have signal words and others don't. Where's another major? Even our cats get in on the action by throwing their toys around. I guess we deserve one another in our untidy house. That's another supporting detail. Well, we've picked out some of the major supporting details. Let us see if we have any minor supporting details in here. Well, sentence 3. For instance, that's a minor detail that gives us information about my husband leaving things lying around. Do we have another minor supporting detail? I know there's another one in here. I'm still trying to find it. Can you find it? This is a really sneaky sentence. It starts off with a major supporting detail, and as you can see, it has a minor supporting detail right in there. So you have to be very careful about major and minor supporting details. Let's take a look at another example. Well, in review, there are major and minor supporting details. Major supporting details give information directly about the main idea, and minor supporting details give information directly about the major supporting details. Now, which signal words are used to show that a major supporting detail is being used? First of all, also, unfortunately, furthermore, and there are many, many more. These are just a couple. Which signal words are used to show that a minor supporting detail is being used? Here's just a few. For instance, for example, including, such as. And how does an author choose which supporting details to use? Well, An author will choose certain supporting details depending upon the nature of the topic being covered and the purpose for which the material is being written. For example, if an author wants to praise Nelson Mandela, the famous anti-apartheid activist and humanitarian, he or she might list examples of all of his achievements in those roles as supporting details. If an author wants to describe something, the supporting details would be sensory in nature. If an author wants to explain why he or she likes to read, then the supporting details would be the reasons for his or her love of reading. And we have one more example to show you how the author goes about choosing supporting details, depending upon the topic and the purpose for the writing. I love to read for many reasons. First of all, reading takes me to other worlds so I don't have to worry about my situation in life. For instance, I become so wrapped up in the story that I feel I'm part of the action, living through the author's characters. Secondly, while I'm reading, I'm still using my brain and engaging myself in understanding the author's ideas and concepts instead of staring at the television, an act which uses zero brain power and energy. Furthermore, when I read, I begin to understand another person's views of the world, and that's a good thing, because in order to truly get along with others, I need to see and appreciate other folks' points of view. Finally, I don't need to dream about space travel when all I have to do is pick up a book and enter the world of another human being. That's the magic of reading. Okay, let's take our super analytical powers. First of all, we're going to find our topic, read, reading. Let's find our stated main idea. I love to read for many reasons, and it does include our topic, of course. Let me put that green in here again so you know that read or reading is still our topic. Don't want to lose that. Okay, now I want you to count how many reasons did I give for loving to read. Let's count them. First of all, that's one. Secondly, while I'm reading, I'm still using my brain. Furthermore, I begin to understand other people's points of view. And finally, I don't need to dream about space travel. Okay, so we have 4 major supporting details. And just a quick question. Did you happen to notice any minor supporting details in there? Aha. For instance, very good. That's a minor supporting detail, and it directly gives information about the sentence that immediately precedes it. Very good.